Hello, my name is Rugare Gomo. I'm a high performance coach. It is my pleasure and privilege to bring the Business Summit to you and with a panel of experts who are here to empower us in these unprecedented challenging times of our lives. And I would love to introduce you to Karen Finch, the CEO and founder of Legally Yours. Hi, Karen.
Hello, Rugare. How are you?
Good, thank you. It's such a pleasure to be with you. So you have created a whole innovative organization that is focused in really bringing lawyers but avant-garde lawyers, not just any kind of lawyer, to the communities to provide a unique service that really makes a difference to people who really need legal services. And you have worked your butt off to make that happen, if you don't mind me saying.
I have. Absolutely true.
So can you just tell me a little bit more about Legally Yours and what you love about it?
So Legally Yours, God, there's so much I love about it, but let's dial it back. Let me talk to you a little bit about what the mission is.
Right.
And how we started. So Legally Yours was born out of a concept of really trying to solve this conundrum where people have legal needs and legal problems, yet they don't feel like they can access lawyers. And so we really wanted to find out back in those early days, what was the problem? Why were people, that knew they had a legal problem or a legal need would rather speak to an accountant or to a real estate agent or to someone at the dog park rather than actually go and see a lawyer? So we spent a lot of time just asking everyday people, business owners, entrepreneurs, startups, mums, dads, you name it, if they had a legal problem, why wouldn't they approach a lawyer? And three things came out extremely clear in those early days. So the first was that people have a real fear of lawyers, and lawyers have almost set themselves up to be inaccessible. And a lot of that fear comes from transparency in price, them not understanding what the value of the lawyer is. So the lawyer not communicating clearly in that first consultation, this is what I'm going to do for you, and this is the value, and this is the price. So we knew whatever we created with Legally Yours, we needed to make sure we solve that problem first and foremost. So make it transparent, make it certain, make lawyers actually have value conversations up front with their clients and let them know exactly what the cost is going to be and what they're going to deliver. But the other really interesting things we found out in those early days was that legal education isn't really accessible, and we knew that we had to bring legal education to everybody so that they understood when they had a legal problem, where they needed to go and what they needed to do. So that's a huge responsibility. And the other thing is, a lot of people typing in "I need a lawyer" on Google is just not satisfactory, because up come thousands of lawyers' websites saying I'm the best at this or I'm good at this, and they're all the best, but how do you know? So we really wanted to create a platform where people could come on. It was simple, easy. We navigate them through to some matches of lawyers. They can actually click on and see their profile. They can see their photo. They can watch videos of me talking with them so they can understand if that lawyer is the right trusted advisor for them. And then they connect through our platform for a complimentary virtual chat, and they can get on. And all the lawyers that are part of our network are all fixed fee or value-based pricing. So they'll have those value conversations up front. So in all of that, I have so much joy being able to obviously showcase the amazing, amazing lawyers in our network that are fixed fee and value-based pricing. They care about their clients. They deliver legal services differently, which in this time of COVID-19 is the only way you can get legal services. And we'll be able to really help people in need when they need that right legal advice. So
extraordinary. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm a big fan of Legally Yours. What I love is that it is putting the person first. You mentioned the value-based, being very clear about the value you're contributing to another person rather than what the value the lawyers are getting out of the person.
That's right.
It really is putting the needs of the client first, and then just having transparency and clarity regarding what your fees are, which is very unusual in the world.
Yes.
And you have literally created a movement, and actually also the behavior of lawyers and even the bodies, the governing bodies inside of you creating Legally Yours. And I'm so proud of everything you've accomplished, and also to being your friend. That's just extraordinary,
and thank you. Yes.
And today I get to then explore with you, the depths of the things you have bumped up against. Like you talked about the fear of even, a client choosing a lawyer.
Yes.
But you, of course, being a businesswoman as well, have had your own fears. And more importantly, what have you been, or how have you been dealing with fear inside of
Yes.
COVID-19?
Yes, yes. So interesting for me, my kind of fear, and I probably need to dial it even further back of why I've always had a little bit of not necessarily fear, but a bit of an imposter syndrome within the business and the sector that I work within. So as you know, I was a lawyer for a very short period of time, but I had always wanted to be a lawyer. It was an absolute passion of mine. I thought that I was going to, back in those days, go to South Africa and emancipate everyone from apartheid and be a massive human rights lawyer. And I had a vision. I remember once telling my mother that, I was going to die in a courtroom and they'd have to pull me out when I was 90 or something. That was my vision for myself. So, I absolutely loved, getting into law at university, studying law. But when I came out and I actually started practicing law, for me, the reality was so different to what I had expected and dreamed. And so what I learned very quickly back then was that the way that you became a lawyer was it was 6-minute increments. It was all about billing, 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 and what you could do to make money for the firm. And for me, that was quite soul destroying, because for me, that wasn't the value that I was giving clients. And, thinking about a client for a minute and then billing them for 6 and doing these 5-minute credits, which was the way that it was back then, I just couldn't fulfill. So I ended up leaving, and I left with an extremely heavy heart, because for me, I felt that being a lawyer was my mission and vocation in life, but it just wasn't for me. And I didn't think you could practice any other way. So now how I've re-entered back into the legal industry many years later is that I'm absolutely now able to not only encourage lawyers to move away from these billable hours and billable units and get them to understand what their value is, but also I'm now working back in an industry where part of me feels like, should I really be here? I left and I wasn't good enough in those early days, and, that I failed back then. So really, why am I now back here, doing CPD stuff for lawyers and helping them in their practices? So getting over that imposter syndrome has been a huge challenge, and understanding what my value is within the legal industry has been probably one of the most biggest psychological challenges I've had to come sort of and really work on in myself.
I completely get it. And, many of us, including myself, we have suffered from imposter syndrome. So, trying to run a business or a life when you feel like you don't belong,
Yes,
or you're not good enough, or
yes,
that you have failed,
yes,
comes with a lot of challenges, particularly when we're gripped that that's the reality. I shouldn't really be here. What gives me the right to even be here or create these things? And
yes.
yet here you are right now, sharing your truth with us. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you have broken through
Mm.
that imposter syndrome?
I think the key has been the people who you surround yourself with, and the people that you reach out to, and being vulnerable enough to actually acknowledge that was how I was feeling. A lot within the legal industry is tied up in ego and a bit of bravado and a bit of, you can't really show vulnerability, because to be a lawyer, you have to look a certain way and you have to act a certain way and you have to be very professional, and, you have to, wear dark colors, and that's what being a lawyer is, and that's what people expect of you. And I think, we obviously work in that the community with the lawyers is what we call new law, which is so completely different. It throws all of that traditional, billable and stuffiness, and, you can't speak in plain language. You have to be speaking legal jargon and all these sorts of things out the window. So I think I've been able to surround myself with people that already see and understand and love the law the way that I love the law, and see the way that they can really help people with this access, and they care about their clients. But also reaching out and being vulnerable and sharing my story has been incredibly powerful, because every time I share that story that I felt like a failure, I didn't feel like I fit, I cannot tell you the amount of times I have other lawyers say to me, but that's how I feel. That's how I feel, and that's why I've decided to create my own new law firm where I do things differently. So that power in understanding that there's community and a sense of belonging, and being open to share that story, which enables others to share similar type stories as well. And obviously, bringing you into my life has been absolutely incredible, because you've been absolutely key in showing me that how I feel is a shared human experience. It's not just a Karen experience. And we all suffer fear. We all suffer imposter syndrome in some aspect in our lives, and uncertainty. So, acknowledge it, sit with it, recognize its uncomfortableness, and then get on with it and push through.
Very, very powerful. What I really love is that one of the things you discovered in this is that it's actually the system that failed you.
Yes.
you know but we live like we meant to fit into the system, but the
Yes.
system failed you and was squashing all that passion and your creativity and what is possible for you. Not okay. And you have now come through that, discovering that there is another way, and you've been a voice to share with all of us, including me. There is another way.
Yeah.
In our conversations, you have really brought back the joy of being, the law in my heart again, where
Yeah.
I was like disgruntled, I was dissatisfied, I felt like a failure, and Legally Yours has really shown a light to all of us as lawyers. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's an absolute privilege. But I think that there was a sense of freedom. I think that if I had still remained in the law, or I had still, been practicing law, perhaps the sense of freedom that I'd been able to create within Legally Yours would have been restricted. So when I look back on my journey to what has landed me, here today, so much of it now makes sense. I needed to break away. I needed to view the legal industry from a different perspective. And certainly, where I fit within the piece now is I bridge that gap between the client voice and the lawyer voice. And I'm able to really tell lawyers, this is what your clients think of you, this is what they want, and this is what they need. And then I'm able to say to the clients, here are the lawyers that I know are going to deliver the legal service in the way that you need it, overcoming all those barriers and fears, and give you a great connection, which is, when I look at all the different things I do in my business, the legal education and the seminars and the, all the events and different things, my absolute one, the biggest spark of joy I have is watching those connections happen and hearing the client say, thank you for introducing me to that lawyer. I got the service I need, the advice I need. I feel so much better and less anxious. So for me, that is just the absolute joy of Legally Yours.
And it's all over your face. It's really infectious. Like when you're sharing, I'm just right there experiencing your joy.
Yes, yeah.
So, what would you then say to our community who are dealing with new issues inside of the New World Order? Is what I'm calling it, the COVID-19. Like
Yes.
you've broken through imposter syndrome, you've broken through lots of fear. And right now in the world, there is a lot of fear. There's lots of uncertainty.
Yeah.
What would you advise or offer to our community?
I think the first step is acknowledge it, and acknowledge that it's a shared experience that we are all feeling, and it's okay. It's okay that you feel uncertain and you feel fearful, and of course, I mean, if now more than ever, it's a global crisis, and it's okay. So acknowledging it and sort of giving yourself permission to say it's not a weakness. It's an acknowledgement of this is how it feels, and try to sit in it. I'm quite big on sort of pushing myself into an uncomfortable situation and just sit in it for a moment to understand what that feeling feels like, because then when you move out of it, you then have an appreciation of how far you've come. If you don't acknowledge the fear, the uncomfortableness, it's hard to know when you've moved out of it. But then there comes a point where you say, and this is, I think in some senses I've been incredibly lucky, because all of the experiences I've had in the last sort of 5-6 years trying to break into quite a traditional structure and really sort of disrupting and getting rejection and getting, people telling me in the legal industry what I believed wouldn't work and all those sorts of things has actually made me incredibly resilient and strong and powerful to be doing what I'm doing today, particularly within the New World Order. So absolutely having that moment of acknowledgement, but then going, right, what am I going to do about it? How am I going to get through this? How are we going to pick ourselves up, put the good dress on again, put the heels on, even if you're working from home, and get on and do action. And it's amazing how you take one action, and then the next action comes through, and then the next action comes through, and the next action comes through. And also, I mean, I would be defined as a type A personality, which is what most lawyers are. We're quite, perfectionists. We like to be in control, and we'd like to know that, everything's organised and all our ducks are in a row. I think just acknowledging there's a sense of control that isn't happening anymore, and that all the rules are out of the window, and you just need to embrace that freedom, and just get on. But that first action, so the acknowledgement, take the first step, take the action, and I guarantee the next ones will flow through. And you can still find joy in every day. I'm very conscious of just having little achievable moments of joy in my day, not necessarily business related, but even online learning, and having 4 children at home online learning, I'm still trying to take moments of joy through that chaos.
It's so great. So first of all, acknowledge the situation for what it is. It's really powerful. That's dealing with reality. If you can't acknowledge what reality is, there isn't an access for any performance or new actions. That's once we acknowledge it, then take the first step.
Yes.
Just take an action.
Yes, absolutely.
And then I love what you created. Find the joy.
Find the joy.
Find the joy.
And there is still so much joy.
Yes.
There really is. I was saying to you before, one of the things of having the children at home is that, I take the opportunity to have extra cuddles with them, because I can. Normally they're at school 5 days a week. Well, I can have an extra cuddle with them at lunchtime, or we can regroup together. But also the joy of them being able to see me in my work mode as well has been incredibly wonderful, because they'll say to me, oh, mum's got her work clothes on, her dress on, she's got her lipstick on, look at her, she's going in the room. And how amazing. They've started watching my videos, and even one of my little twins put a note on YouTube saying what a cool video of it's really
just amazing.
It's really wonderful. So I think I absolutely know there are some people who are feeling, depressed, or they're anxious, or, quite down about things. And certainly what I'm not coveting is that, you just kind of pick it up and move on. But I think understanding that there can still be joy within these moments. And look, we will get through it. We will come out the other side, and the world will return to some sense of normality. I hope that we don't go back the way we were. I think that there has been so many already incredible, powerful lessons of family, what's important, understanding the concept of human touch and human relationships. And, I can't wait till I get to see you again and put my arms around you and give you a big cuddle, and, all those things that we perhaps would have taken for granted before, I don't think we'll take for granted again. So it's
absolutely
wonderful.
I've been hearing from people like they can't wait to go back to how things were. And, I bite my tongue a lot of the time because that can be quite triggering, but there isn't going back to the past. The past is the past. And really to have power inside of the New World Order is to really take it a day at a time. There's no past, there's no future. We have today, and you do have a choice on who you get to be today.
Absolutely. And how wonderfully reassuring, and how there's your certainty, there's your power, there's so much power in that, and 100%. And you've been very instrumental in showing me and unlocking my power since we've been working together, which has just been absolutely incredible. You've really shown a mirror to power that I didn't realize I had, and you brought it out.
Thank you. And that's really every single human being, because, the power that's there with you is the power that's there with me. And that's the power with, the people in Zimbabwe, the people in Iraq, the people in Poland. We all have that inside of us. And it can take a conversation like this for it to be unleashed, to have that spark, that joy, to push through that fear. And that's what I really love about you, Karen, is that you are that embodiment of pushing through the imposter syndrome. And here you are. You're not even saying that it's perfect, but you're saying it's possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, it's just, it is possible. It is possible. And why not? And why not you? Why not me? You know, why not us doing these things and doing great things in that moment? I mean, the easy thing would be to just sit and wait and be in a holding pattern for this thing to end. But why not use it? Use it for all that kind of ability to be quiet and understand and figure out what's important to you, what's important to your business, who you need to be connecting with. There's just so much in there. So but yeah, I think what a wonderful gift we've been given at this particular point, and how we now rise to the occasion will be incredibly powerful. Yeah.
You know, I think that in this new world order, the things that haven't been working in the world will get magnified, whether it's in people's relationships, in their family, in businesses, and the things that are really working will also get magnified. So I look forward to seeing a new wave of leadership in the world as a result of this. And I really see that you are already in the forefront of that new wave of leadership. You know, even as simple as the things that may be coming up in how we law reform in certain areas. Is that
Absolutely.
something that you can talk about?
Absolutely, I could talk
Great.
about. So, you know, so 100%, you know, there are, you know, the legal industry is a very traditional industry. It's not one that's been very much open to change or doing things. But the I guess the irony of that is that the legal industry are full of lawyers who typically are very creative. They're very altruistic. They're very socially aware. You know, extremely intelligent people that can do really amazing, innovative things when they put their minds to it. So what I guess COVID-19 has really called out is that there's a lot of practices and in particular signing of wills. So you've got a lot of people at the moment who are feeling anxious, they're feeling their own mortality, and they want to know that they've got their affairs in order. And that's what COVID's done. I think it's made a sort of increasing of, you know, if your parents were to pass away or if you were to given a diagnosis, have you got everything ready for your family? So people are wanting to have wills. They're wanting enduring powers of attorneys and different things. And the way that the legal industry have traditionally interacted in relation to wills and estate planning is everything has to be face to face. And so what's COVID-19 done? It's put restrictions on all of that face-to-face interaction. So it's been really interesting. We've had law societies sort of coming up and trying to grapple with the issue, and a lot of their guidance notes has been around trying to maintain the status quo. So they've actually said to lawyers, we think that you need to still go out face to face, or you need to come up with ideas of how clients can go and you know, get documents witnessed over the back fence with their neighbours and different things. Well, legally yours, we just don't accept that. We don't accept that lawyers should put their health at risk and their family's health at risk, and we don't think clients should either. And the reality is clients don't want to see their lawyers at the moment. They don't want to go against those restrictions, and we all want to help flatten that curve together. So how can we do it? And we know there's technology out there that can make this process work. And so I got together with a group of phenomenal lawyers and legal experts in relation to wills and estate planning, and we literally recorded a video where we showed a live demo of me being the client and having a will and electronically signing it, and electronically signing an affidavit. And what technology, it wasn't perfect, because the technology is not perfect because the technology hasn't been created for that circumstance yet. So we used what we had as our resources and we recorded the call. I certainly, as a client, felt very, you know, I was explained in the process. I was able to acknowledge these were my last, you know, will and testament. This is what I wanted. I wasn't being coerced. All those incredible things. And so that video has now gone viral in the legal community. It's being shared nationally. We've been given word that apparently there's going to be some legislative reform. We're not quite sure to what extent that will be. But, you know, I'm just one little kind of grain of sand in a legal industry. But we can do change. You can still, a little action, a little step, a little chance to say, you know what, let's do the video. Let's show how it can be done, because we think that it's ludicrous that we can't do it this way when clients want the service and lawyers can give it. So let's show how it can happen. And I'm not quite sure where it will lead to or where it will go, but I certainly know that, you know, there are so many great things that we can change about a system that that is better for everyone, better for the lawyers, and it's better for the clients.
And better for the world. And I just think what you just said is so powerful, and I just appreciate that, as a business person, that you've pushed through all your fear, all your imposter syndrome to use your voice, which is actually causing real change in our personal lives, society, and no doubt the world. So thank you so much for just using your voice. It's not just a small voice, it's a huge voice. It might sometimes feel small, but it's huge.
Thank you. Well, and thank you for helping me find my voice too, because that's a lot of a credit to you.
Great. So before we, wrap up, what are some of the tips you'd like to leave the community with, particularly those who are still like grappling with, anxiety, uncertainty? What would you like to give them?
So I guess if I can give them anything, it's to sort of let them know that it's a shared experience I have. It's a shared experience that we all have. So it's okay. It's okay to be feeling those ways. But if I can give them any sort of direction, or the tools that I've certainly used that have worked for me, it's really taking that one small step that leads to then another small step and another small step. So the acknowledgement coupled with the action, coupled with as I mentioned before, those little tangible, very achievable moments of joy, which might be, your favorite glass of wine at 8 o'clock when the kids are asleep, and just being able to have that and sit in the moment and go, you know what, I achieved it. Another thing I love to do, which I don't think I've ever shared with you before, but put on music really, really loud and sing at the top of my voice. I get so much joy. My kids hate it, but I get so much joy from that action, doing little things that can make you feel like, you know what, today's been a good day. I got to sing at the top of my lungs. I got extra cuddles from the kids, and I got to have a glass of wine with my beautiful husband of 16 years, because it's our wedding anniversary today.
Oh, congratulations. Wow.
Thank you. All those little things add up to then, being able to kind of pick yourself up and go, you know what, this is a gift in this environment, and we can still achieve so much. We can achieve so much sitting at home in our offices, or in our bedrooms, or wherever, in the closet, wherever anyone's doing business these days. You can still have a massive impact on the world. And that would be the thing I guess I'd like to say to people is, you can still do amazing, brilliant things. Just take that one little action.
Wonderful.
Do it.
Absolutely. So today, as I get off this, it would be really, my big takeaway is, my job is to discover joy every day.
Yes.
And inside of discovering joy, taking the next action after the next action. That's my job.
Beautiful.
It's amazing. Yep. Thank you so much, Karen. How can people reach out and connect with you?
So we've got a number of ways. So obviously our platform, if people are looking for legal advice or want to have a connection or want to see what we do, so legallyyours.com.au is the best place to go. But if people would like to, follow us or look at our legal content, I'm on LinkedIn under Karen Finch, or we've got a Legally Yours LinkedIn page. But otherwise, you can email me direct, and I absolutely love conversation. I'm so curious about other people, and I love being able to hear other people's stories and journeys. So people can also email me direct at kfinch@legallyyours.com.au as well. So that's all the ways.
Fantastic. And we'll absolutely put all those links, online as well, so that people will be able to connect with you. So, Karen, this is all the time we have. I could talk to you all day, and explore.
Me too.
And I just want to say thank you so much for your valuable time and using your voice to empower us, to live life in the face of uncertainty and fear. It's been so useful. So thank you very much for your generosity.
Oh, thank you, Rugare, and thank you for everything you do for us. Mwah.
Mwah. For everybody listening to this business summit, thank you for your generous listening. My team and I are there for you as you navigate through these unprecedented times. If you are interested in having a conversation with me, feel free to email me at connect@rugaregomo.com. Thank you very much.